everyone, welcome to English 101. I'm your instructor, Janet Reed. I've been a Crowder instructor since 2003. I've been at Crowder in several capacities as a full-time English teacher until 2019. I retired and moved to Kansas City and started our new writing program for myself at UMKC, a thing that I have wanted to do all of my life. So I am back as an online instructor, and we are going to share this space together for the next 16 weeks, get to know each other and talk about writing and develop writing skills. I hope you're excited for a new school year and are ready to dig in and get involved. I am, and I look forward to working with you. The purpose of this video is to help with some syllabus information and to get the course rules and expectations clearly articulated so that you don't have to read through so much detail and then try to understand what I find really significant about those expectations. So we're starting new and fresh this fall with Canvas as opposed to Blackboard. I think we're all really going to like it a lot. I have used Canvas as a student in my own program at UMKC. This is my first time to build a course inside it. So be patient. We might have some snafus that have to get figured out, but we can do that. So let's get started and talk about the syllabus and course expectations, and then you can have your own copy of it and read it at your own pace. There's a tab on the left-hand side of your Canvas screen specifically devoted to syllabus, and I have made it readable on the format and also provided a link where you can download a copy if you want to have it available offline. All right, so the book that we will be using is Back to the Lake. You definitely need this book. There is no way to complete the course assignments without it. So if you don't have this book yet, be sure and get it ordered. If you are waiting, back ordered something, let me know and we'll see what we can figure out for the first week or two. But this will be essential to your success. The other book that we use is a vocabulary book that was written by English teachers at Crowder. I did a couple of chapters of those myself. So we will have regular vocabulary quizzes and we'll work at developing vocabulary to build stronger writing throughout the course of this semester. Those are the two books that you need. Everything else I will provide to you, or the class, the school will provide it to you online. All right. So as far as papers go, we will be writing 7 papers. 2 of those will be short, 1 paragraph to 1 page papers, and I've selectively put those in the schedule at times when we have a short week or a lot of things to accomplish so that we're not overwhelmed by the amount of work. We will be writing 5 full-length essays that are geared toward rhetorical modes, and what that means is you will write like a narration paper that tells a story. You will write a descriptive paper that uses elements of description, and we will build toward a more complicated logical reasoning with research paper at the very end of the course. And so each paper grows progressively more difficult, and the points associated with each paper also builds in intensity as the semester goes forward. So we will begin tackling the first one of those in week 2, a narration paper. You can see the tentative schedule that I have posted with the syllabus and get a sense of how the timeline of the course will work. Having said that, though, Canvas is set up in modules. And so Blackboard had assignments and a separate place for discussion board and a separate place for you to go to do different tasks in the class. And one thing I think is going to be really positive about Canvas is it's all in the same module. So your quizzes for the week, your assignments for the week, anything for the week will be in the module. So when you click on modules on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see one for student resources, and you'll see one for the syllabus, and then you'll see the ones that I have labeled week 1, week 2, week 3, etc. And those are the ones that you will follow. I've provided a tentative schedule so that you can get a sense of how the course will run, but you should pay very close attention to what is contained inside the module each week and make sure that you have completed what is assigned there, so that you earn as many points as you can earn in the course. All right. So the week will start on Sunday at 12:01 a.m. and it runs until Saturday at midnight. And in an online course, you have flexibility for how you manage your time, when you log in, how you accomplish those tasks. But there are a couple dates I want to make sure you're aware of, right? A couple days of the week, that is. Saturday at midnight is the very end of the week. Everything that is due during the week will be due and need to be uploaded by Saturday at midnight. The next week starts on Sunday. Discussion boards need to be done during that week. If you miss one, I don't go back and repost. Nobody is going back to an old conversation to continue to add value to it. So if you miss that and you miss that Saturday at midnight deadline on a discussion board, then you lose those points. Fortunately, they add up. If you did that often, it would cause you a problem, but if it happens once or twice, it's not going to materially impact your grade. But try to keep in mind that Saturday at midnight is a definite ending time. For discussion boards, your answer will be due by Wednesday at midnight. If we're dealing with a regular week without any school vacations or holidays, then when the week starts Sunday at midnight, then your response to a discussion board will be due by Wednesday at midnight. You will then be required to respond to and add value to a couple of conversations by Saturday at midnight. You will also be responsible to go back and check your own post and see if anybody asked you a question about what you said that you need to answer. Discussion boards are problematic in that students like to say, "You did a great job. I totally agree with you," and consider that as a response. And in my world, that's a 0 credit response. I don't want to read that, and nobody else is going to read it, and nobody else is developing a conversation with abstract and generic comments like that. So what I want you to do when you respond to a student is to really read what they say and add something of value to it. And I'm talking 75 to 150 words probably in your responses, and 200 to 350 words for your own response. These points add up, and they also force you to articulate a concept that is being explored during the course week. And glossing over that and not taking that seriously is a real failure of online coursework. So I want you to know that I am very serious about grading the discussion boards and looking for value, substantive comments and value. I try to ask questions that don't have one simple answer so that everybody doesn't say the same thing over and over and over again. I'm successful at that more often than not, but look for a way to think through the issue with clarity and with creativity so that you aren't just repeating the same thing that 10 other people ahead of you have already said. All right. So the way that I grade these is I give 20 points for the week for discussion board questions. Your material response of roughly 250, 350 words is worth 14 points. If you do it well and you do it by Wednesday at midnight, you've earned your 14 points. If it's late, there's a 20% penalty. And if it's too late, then there's really no credit that you can get for your response. Okay, so then I offer 6 points, 3 each, for response to other students. So what I expect in your response to other students is a material contribution. It's fair to ask a student a question about how he or she arrived or they arrived at their answer. It is fair to add additional comments. It's fair to disagree and say why you disagree. All of those things are part of responding to a conversation. And so what I will not allow and reward with any kind of credit is a very generic slapstick. Absolutely, you are so right. And my response, that's not a response. So think about how you converse meaningfully with the people in your life and treat the discussion board that way. And we'll have a much better experience and even maybe a good time with the discussion board. And while I'm on discussion boards, I want to talk about the second part of the discussion that earns an awful lot of points during the course of this semester, and that's workshopping, or what is called peer evaluation of other students' writing. I had a real conflicted feeling about workshopping until I started my MFA program, and it lives and dies in workshop. And I feel much more committed to the workshop experience with writing than I ever did when I was teaching for Crowder full-time, because I can see that not only has the workshop helped me with my own writing, it also makes me think critically about somebody else's writing and speak to it, and that too makes me a better writer. So there are going to be some essays that are really hard to peer review, and because they're either really good or you don't understand and you don't really know how to approach them. And the majority of the essays are going to be fairly standard in terms of workshopping them. Each time that we workshop one of the essays, I will create groups so that you're not seeing the same people's work every single time. And I will ask you to do 2 of them. I will give you prompts of specific things I want you to look for and think about and write to in your evaluation of another student's paper. I'm serious about that as well, right? It's a huge part of a writing class to be able to do that. And I tell students, especially now that I'm a believer, right? I've been converted. And so I'm a real believer that paying close attention to the details of a workshop are good for you. They do way more for you and your writing than they do for any student whose work you review. And hopefully you help those students too. But in the meantime, the real benefit comes back to you and makes you better. So I start with a fairly low number of points for the first workshop. And as we get into more complicated papers, those workshop points really develop and grow. I will not allow you to workshop if you have not submitted an essay. All right. So you have to have submitted an essay by the due date in order to participate in the workshop. And failure to do that is fairly costly in terms of points. You might get away with it once, but a regular habit of that will seriously impact the final outcome. So be paying attention and looking for those assignments when they are due. I shouldn't have to say this, but I had a class a year or so ago where it became an issue. So I'm just going to say it. When you upload a draft for review, it needs to be a complete draft. You can't put 5 or 6 sentences together, throw it up there and say you have a draft. That's not okay. Workshopping that is impossible to do. You didn't do your job. So while I expect you to take comments and revise the draft before you submit a final paper to Canvas, I expect also that there will be a serious attempt at creating a draft before you post it. So keep those two things in mind and understand that that's the expectation of the course and how I want things to run. And while we're talking about responding to others, the other really big thing that I have in dealing with others is respect. I will respect you for who you are, what you are, where you are in terms of your academic style, ability, beliefs, etc. We will be writing about a number of those. I expect you to be respectful of each other also, and respectful of me. Disrespect is a thing I just don't tolerate. And again, I shouldn't have to say that, but I've had enough experience teaching to know that it's important just to get it out there right from the start. We will respect each other. We will be treating people the way that we want to be treated, and we will be careful in the way we make criticism of somebody's writing, right? It's not about the person. It's about the sentence. It's about the words that are used. And all of those things can make us better writers. But if somebody comes away from a workshop experience feeling dumped on, that's not positive and it's not okay. So I challenge you as you're responding both in discussion board and in workshop to writing to think about how the words that you use might come across to somebody else. All right, so one more word about the late work, because that too can be a problem in an online format, is my deadline is midnight on Saturday. Anything that comes in after that is 20%. It's late, and it's 20%. And it's 20% from that first day until 2 weeks later. So you don't lose 50% or 75% the later it gets. But after 2 weeks, I'm not going to take it. I don't go back and grade work that is way old. We're moving on. Skills are developing each week. Each paper will ask something of you that you learned in the paper before. I'm not going to go back and grade something from weeks earlier that you didn't do. So if you're late, you have 2 weeks to get it done. And if you can't get it done in those 2 weeks, then let it go and move on. There's going to be plenty of other stuff that needs your attention. So that's the late penalty rule. Having said all of that, we are living in a strange time, and I hoped when I made a video last fall that I would not still be talking about COVID this fall, but we are. All of us may be susceptible to circumstances outside of our control. I apologize for my dogs. They always know when I'm recording something, and they have to talk too. So having said that, if you have an issue come up and you know you're going to have an issue, talk to me in advance. If we can work something out in advance, I'm happy to work with you. I want you to be successful in this course. I want us to have a good experience together. Sharing 16 weeks is going to be an experience. Why not make it the best one we can, right? So communication is vital and important and necessary. So if something comes up, if you get sick, or if I get sick, or if you have other circumstances that are going to cause you a problem, email me. I have all my information up on Canvas. Email me and I will work with you. We will figure something out so that you can continue on. You may not be able to earn full credit if it's discussion board related, but we'll work something out. What's not workable is if you don't do that and 4 or 5 weeks past the point that you've missed a bunch of stuff, you come up and go, yeah, I had this issue and it kept me from getting this done. And I'm like, yeah, that's really tough. I'm sorry. But at this point, we're too far past that and there may not be anything I can do to help. So I want to call that to your attention too. Be responsible, communicate, be respectful, take the course seriously, take some risks. This is a safe place to develop your skills as a writer. So take some risks and see what kind of feedback you get, and then work with the revision to make it better. And by the time December rolls around and we're getting ready for Christmas, you will be amazed at how far you've come. All right, so watch the modules in Canvas. The details will be there. I will periodically do a video to help explain something. I am happy to meet with you either through email or through a Zoom link if you're having any trouble. We'll work things out as long as we're in this together and we're working together in order to get that accomplished. And with that, I will say, welcome to English 101. Look over the syllabus very carefully. If you have any questions, email me, and I will always be glad to respond to you. So good luck, and let's have a great time.